been in the trenches to definitely understand the development of humans at work. Like, you have been in the trenches, and I kind of want to get into that a little bit. So we have a little bit of a framework of you to spotlight you. Yeah, drink your juice, Shelby. Drink your wine, because
here we go.
As we say, still magnolias. Drink your juice, Shelby. So, we talked about this a little bit earlier. So when my guests come, we have maybe a drink and a chat a little bit, and then if we start finding a way to connect on a conversation, and usually that's where Nico will say, "Hold it, shut up, this is good."
Yep.
Sound check and get into the conversation, because that's where that organic conversation happens. And so, what's interesting, kind of what I want to get into now, is we were talking a little bit. Your son, 19 years old, new into the workforce and everything, experienced a little bit of a snafu at work and everything. But he is really at this point, 19 years old, being directly affected by this mass resignation, exodus, the growing of the gig economy, artificial intelligence, robots are taking our jobs, everything. Like, it is post-pandemic employment pandemonium.
Yes.
And so we're seeing this, and we're seeing, so you are coming in to develop leaders to implement and help them, guide them in implementing better cultures, creating textures for their cultures. And I was talking a little bit to this with some clients of mine, and with consulting, and also with just working and talking with colleagues, is an organization. And this is interesting, all these mass resignations. And my philosophy is this, like, I've been telling y'all this all along. Like, I have forecasted this when I left the military 10 years ago, to see, like, oh, this is coming.
Yeah.
Because typically, if most people would just watch what's happening in the labor market with unemployment numbers, in the military, even with the recruiting happening in the military, it's usually a good indication of what's going to happen in the civilian sector.
Right.
And so all these things, the mass resignation, and what I was thinking is, like, what's interesting is that most organizations that I've talked to have not done a cost of analysis to see what their attrition is or whatever, or to even gauge and calibrate what their actual culture is when someone interviews and asks, "Could you tell me a little bit about your culture?" Oh. And yet they will tell you more about what's so wrong and what's going on, and yet they will do their damnedest to ensure that they will protect that toxic leader, that employee, that culture, anything, before they will invest in any sort of development to start healing that organization's culture. And I say all that because this is where you are a true expert, is to help people kind of see that, create a safe space for them to see it, to be aware of it, and how they can mindfully navigate through it in a safe way. Yeah. So let's start talking on that, because organizations will ignore, and we have, screw succession planning.
Right.
Succession planning has gone out the window. We are in critical crisis mode. Yeah. And so we have a huge shift, which is going to be these boomers are retiring.
Yeah.
And this toxic leadership, this antiquated methods and ways of doing stuff. But we do have a great cul-de-sac of leaders that saying, we understand there's something out there that needs to be done. So I want to talk about it, what you're doing. Give me some of the projects that you're doing to bring in that type of structured development.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and all of that, like, I just preach. Yes.
I know.
Preach. I will say, I think
now I'm going to drink my juice after that.
Drink your juice. I mean, I need a bumper sticker that says, "Stop being nice and be kind." We are so afraid of not being nice. We are so unkind to people. We will sit with someone and say, "Oh, good idea. Uh-huh. Uh-huh." And then we will walk out and be like, "What an idiot."
Yeah. Great top.
Yeah.
Great blouse.
Yeah. Instead of saying to someone, like, "I don't think you intended to come across this way, but this is how you were received."
Yeah.
And so we create this culture of niceness. And we say, "Well, we're such a kind workplace. We're so nice to each other." But are you? Yeah. Because really what I think you are is afraid to have difficult conversations.
Exactly.
you're afraid to create that environment where we coach and counsel and support people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to fail as an organization when we don't have those difficult conversations. And I hate it. I just want to scream at organizations that say, well, they left because they're getting paid $10 more an hour. Or, well, this recruiter reached out to them. How many times does a recruiter reach out to you on LinkedIn and say, hi, I'm John, and we want to pay you $10,000 a year more than what you're making?
Doesn't happen.
Never.
It's a process.
It's a process. So what happens is, hi, this is John. I'm a recruiter. You're interested in a job? And if you're happy at work, you say, no, thank you. So kind. I'm so happy. I love my boss. I love my team.
Can we pause that right
Yes.
there? And I think that's something for most, because girl, I'll get on a roll in talent acquisition. That is something right near there. There's no black and white right there. The gray area, that's black and white.
Yeah.
How many times has that happened? And it's like, you have to think about what caused that person to respond to that recruiter
Yeah.
in that moment.
Yeah.
The final decision came much later.
Right. But to say, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Like, so my professional education workforce development director, she is phenomenal. Phenomenal. And we were sitting at her one-on-one and she started laughing. She goes, well, I just got a LinkedIn, request from a recruiter saying, are you interested in this really cool job at this other university? And I just held my breath because it's a great step for her and it would be amazing. And she said, I'm not ready for that yet. Like, we're not done here.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, thank goodness I've created an environment where I do want her to
You
go
create an environment
when she's
of
ready.
respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she didn't say, I'm listening,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. So it makes me crazy.
Yeah.
It makes me crazy. But so I spend a lot of time, trying to get people to stop and listen. Like, let's stop making excuses why people leave. Let's stop making excuses of, why we have problems at work.
Yeah.
And let's really get to the root of the problem. Why are people leaving? Is it a manager? Is it a process? Is it a situation? What is it, and how do we fix it?